Well, welcome everybody. I see it's the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started with creating music videos with PowerPoint and Google Sheets. I hope that you're excited for this webinar this morning on a fine windy morning in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with Google Sheets and kind of talk about how I've combined Google Sheets with PowerPoint and a little bit about what Google Sheets is in case you're not familiar with the application. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to back out to my Gmail account. So from my email, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the 9 dots or the waffle, as I call it, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to come over here to Drive, and it will load my Google Drive for me. From there, I'm going to come over to the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to click on New. And I'm going to select Google Slides. So as you can see, once the Google Slides loads, it looks very similar to a PowerPoint presentation. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the upper right-hand corner and I'm going to click on Share. Right after I name this again. So we'll just call this Google Slides, click on Save. And now it allows me to share this out with as many people as I want to. For this morning, I'm just going to share it with one person. So I'm going to select my friend, Pat Smith. From there, I can go over to the right and say that you can edit, you can comment, or you can view. As the administrator of this document, I can determine what she can do. And I'm going to go ahead and let her edit. So from there, I'm going to come down where it says add a note. And as I said earlier, this is going to be the body of the email. I'm just going to say, hi, Pat. If you have time this morning, can you add an image to the Google Slides? Okay, and then when I click on send, this is going to send her an email with a link to this document. And you can share these documents with as many people as you want to. For right now, obviously, I'm just going to share it with one person. Okay, so if she pops in to the Google Slides, you'll see a little icon right up here where I'm shaking my mouse around. And either her initials or her image that she has associated with her Gmail account will pop up. Okay, so let's get started with Google Slides. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm just going to, let's say since Mother's Day is coming up, let's go in and create a little music video for our mother or grandmother or someone special in our lives. We're going to start with Google Sheets and then we're going to, or Google Slides, and then we're going to finish it up in PowerPoint. So I've got two different text boxes on my screen at this point in time. I really don't need both of them. So I'm just going to click to add subtitle. I'm going to delete that one. So now I'm going to come in to click to add title. And maybe we'll just put in Happy Mother's Day. Okay, if we want to spruce this up a little bit, we can certainly do so. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click to select the text box. And then I'm going to come up here to format. And underneath the format options, I can come down to borders and lines. And I can change the border color. So we'll just make that, a little springy. So I'll go ahead and select green. And then I'm going to come back up to format and I'm going to go back down to borders and lines and I'm going to select a little bit of a thicker border weight. So we'll go ahead and click on 16 and let's spruce it up just a tad bit more. So I'm going to come back up to format and into borders. Hang on. Let's color in the inside. So If I come right here next to the border color, I can come over here to the fill color, click on the paint can, and maybe we'll just put in a yellow so it's nice and sunny. And we can easily change the color of our font if we want to. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that and come up to my ribbon, go to text color, and maybe we'll just put in a white. Now you can see that this is centered at the bottom of my text box. So I can go ahead and change that by coming up to the alignment, and I'm going to click on the down arrow and tell it that I want it to be aligned in the middle. Okay, so we've got a pretty good start to our first slide. And I'm going to leave the background in this particular case white because we're creating a music video and we're going to insert several different pictures onto our slide. So we don't necessarily need a theme. I'm going to go ahead and click on the X over here and close that up. But let's spruce this up just a little bit more by adding some images. So if I come over here to insert, I can go to insert, and you can see that I can insert an image from my PC. I can search the web. I can go to my Google Drive, my Google Photos, by a URL or a camera. So for right now, I'm going to start with inserting an image, excuse me, from the web. So when I do that, it gives me Google Images. So I can just simply type in flowers, and I'll go ahead and select flowers, and it will go out to the internet and find all kinds of various and sundry pictures of flowers that I can use on my first slide. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and select a picture. Now note that once I select the picture, down at the bottom, it says that I have one picture selected and I have the option to insert. So I'm going to go ahead with this one picture and I'm going to insert just that one picture. Which it looks like it's giving me an unable to create some images. So let's go ahead and click on dismiss. We'll go back to insert and to image. And we'll search again. We'll select a different picture this time. Let's see, so I can scroll down and maybe we'll just select this one. There we go. So you can see that the image came in at a very large rate. So I'm going to need to reduce the size of that a little bit. In order to do that, you'll notice that when the image is selected that it's got handlebars around it. So I'm just going to go up to the one of the corners, either the upper right, the upper left, or the lower right or the lower left. And I am going to hover my mouse over that little handlebar, and note that my mouse space changes to a double arrow that's diagonal. And I'm just going to click and hold down on my mouse and pull to make this image a little bit smaller. Okay, so we can place that anywhere on your screen that you want to. So we've got one additional image in there. If I come back up to insert and to image and search the web again, it defaults to my flowers. If I want to change that search, I can certainly do so. So maybe we want to go in here and just say Gerber daisies. And it gives me all kinds of different pictures of Gerber daisies. So if I select one picture, note that I can bring in more than one image at a time. So if I select two different pictures, or 3 or 4 or 10, whatever the case may be, it tells me down at the bottom that I have 2 selected and that I can go ahead and insert those. Now, if you're new to this, you might want to just bring in one at a time, and I'm going to show you why. I'll go ahead and bring in 3, kind of like that one as well. Come here. Okay, so now I have 3 pictures selected. If you do select a picture and you decide that you don't want it, so I'll go ahead and click on this pink Gerber daisy. And now I have 5 different items selected, but I decided that I don't want to use that one. I can simply click on it again and it will deselect it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert, and we'll insert those 4 images. Now you'll see what happened is they inserted on top of one another and they're all selected. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect all 4 of them, allowing me to select just one at a time. And now I can manage each one of the images. Again, I'm going to go to one of the corners. And the reason that I don't want to go to the sides is because if I do that, it's going to adjust the size. It won't be proportionate. So now my Gerber daisy is looks a little bit blurry. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Come up to one of the corners, and we'll go ahead and just reduce the size of that. Again, I can select another one, and we can reduce the size of the next picture. And that way we can kind of move them around on our screen. Make this one a little bit smaller. Makes it easier to work with them. Okay, so let's say that I don't want this particular image. I can just go ahead and select it, hit the delete key on my keyboard, and it is deleted. Okay, so now I have 4 images that I have inserted through Google. And we're going to go ahead and add another slide now. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on the plus sign. You can see that the keyboard shortcut is Control M for a new slide. So if you prefer to use the keyboard shortcut, feel free to do that. When I click on new slide, it gives me this template. And again, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm not going to put any text on here. This is going to be strictly images. So I'll go ahead and delete those by clicking on the frame and then hitting the delete key on my keyboard. So I'm going to come up here to insert and to image. And this time I'm going to upload from the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and select upload from the computer as opposed to search the web. And when I select that, it's going to say, okay, where do you want to go? So I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop, and I've got some pictures here in a folder called PowerPoint Pics. And I'm just simply going to bring them in one at a time, and you can kind of work with them. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about adjusting them right now. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. What I would like to talk about here for a few minutes, because I don't see Pat being able to log in. So why did I want to share that with her, and what's the value of doing that? And I'll give you a personal reason and a professional reason. So a few years ago, I'm going to start with the personal one and how much easier this made my life. A friend of mine was having a milestone birthday, and we were going to have a surprise party for her. And I said, okay, somebody's going to get the cake, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to make a video. So what I did was I went to Google Slides and I shared the Google Slides document with everybody that was coming to the surprise party. And what they did was they went in and they would create, select a new slide, and they would put in different pictures of Pat, or actually it was Pat, that they wanted me to use in the music video. So that made my life a lot easier because I didn't have to have them email me the pictures or text me the pictures. I had them do some of the legwork for me. Okay, so that's how I've used Google Slides on a personal level. On a professional level, I work from home all the time. I have for over 2 years now. And I do a lot of online presentations with people that work for my company, and it's a global company. So, you know, there might be some people here in Nebraska, in the Midwest, but we're all over the United States, all over the world. And I was doing a presentation last month with a work associate, and she lives in Louisiana. So what I did was I, created the Google Slides. She created her slides. I created my slides. When we were ready to go, live, I just downloaded it as a PowerPoint, and boom, we were ready to off and running. So it's really slick. Like I said, you can have one person in there working at the same time, or you can have 20 or 25. And as you're working, it's saving in live time. So every time somebody makes a step or does something to the document, to the slide, it records it and it saves it. And it also has a version history, which is very nice, because then you can go in as the administrator and see who added what to the document. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. I've got more pictures that I want to use in my video. So there's slide number 1. I'm going to go down to slide number 3. And again, I'm going to just delete these. Go back to insert and to image and upload from my PC. It will default to the folder that I was in earlier, so I don't need to browse out again. And I'm just going to insert these images one at a time. Now, if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself, because the first couple of slides, I was deleting those text boxes. Note that right next to the plus sign, there's a down arrow, and that'll give you different slide layouts. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on blank. Therefore, I don't have to delete anything. It's a little bit of a time saver for me. I'm going to go back to insert and to image, tell it that I want to upload from my PC, and we'll grab another picture here. If you haven't figured out my theme yet, my theme is labs. So there's another one. Let's go ahead and grab another blank slide. And back to insert and to image, upload from PC. Now, if you want to, I'm just putting one picture on each slide. You can certainly put multiple pictures on each slide. That's 100% up to you. Okay, we've just got a few more images that I'm going to bring up here. So now I'm going to go back to insert. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have. And I think I've got one more picture to upload. Oh, I guess I do have more. There we go. Okay, so now I've got 9 total slides. So what I want to do is I want to make a little bit of a transition here in order to show you how you can use Google Slides and PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do, I've got my Google Slides. It's all saved. Like I said, it's saved in live time. If I go to File, here's my version history that I was just talking about. So I can go into See Version History. It allows me to see who created what on the document. Note that it's got a little green dot next to my name. That's because it assigned me the color green. If I have 5 other people in there, one person, you know, Pat might be pink, Joe might be blue, Charlie might be red, and so on. It assigns everybody a specific color, and it helps the administrator determine who created what, but it also associates your name with any change. So if I wanted to, if you wanted to go back to an earlier version history, I could click on this and restore to this version, but obviously I don't want to lose any of my work, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and come over here and click on the back arrow where it says today, and it will back us out of the version history. Also underneath File, I can come down here to Download, and I can download to Microsoft PowerPoint. So when I do that, it's going to go ahead and do a download of Microsoft PowerPoint. Down at the bottom, now it says, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to open it? Do you want to save it? Do you want to cancel? And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to open it. And that will open Microsoft PowerPoint on my PC. Pull that over here, and I believe I'm going to have to change my new share. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so now what I've done is I've converted my Google Slides to PowerPoint. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to save this because it hasn't been saved yet. And just remember that when you're working in PowerPoint, because we've gone from Google Slides to PowerPoint, you're now responsible for saving. And it's only going to make changes to the PowerPoint, not to the Google Slides. However, we can in reverse, and we're going to do that. We can take your PowerPoint and upload it to Google Slides. Okay, so here is our Happy Mother's Day, and it appears like for some reason we lost some pictures. So that's just fine, because I wanted to show you how to insert pictures from PowerPoint as well. So I'm going to come over here to the Insert ribbon, and I'm going to go to Pictures and to my desktop, back into the PowerPoint pics, and it will bring in the different pictures. I'll come down here. It looks like I lost another one, so I'm going to go back to Insert and to Pictures. And looks like that one should be there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to New Slide and add a new blank slide. So let's say that you're in PowerPoint and you want to add another picture, but you want to use online pictures. Now, as you noticed, when we were in Google Slides, they use the search engine of Google. When you're in PowerPoint, when I click on online pictures, they are associated with Bing. So I can go ahead and I can just type in here Black Labs and hit the Enter key. It will go out to the internet and find Black Labs for me. So whatever picture I want to use, I can go ahead. Again, I can insert one at a time, or I can insert several. I'm just going to go ahead and insert one at a time. And we'll go back to the Home ribbon, to New Slide, and another blank slide. And go back to Insert, to Online Pictures. And this time maybe we'll go with Yellow Labs. And this time we'll select more than just one picture. So let's say that I select 3 different pictures. So I clicked on 3 different pictures. You can tell that they are selected because they have, they're outlined in orange, and there's a little orange box in the upper right-hand corner. Down at the bottom, it says insert, and it says that I have 3 pictures that I'm going to insert. So I'll go ahead and insert all 3 of those. Again, the same issue is going to occur. So you can see that all 3 of my pictures are selected. I'm just going to go ahead and deselect all 3 of them and take the same approach with making them a little bit smaller so I can work with them and move them around on my screen. The other thing that comes up when you download these through Bing is this photo by unknown author is licensed. I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. So don't need them anymore. I'm going to come back up and click on save just so we don't lose anything. Okay, so now we have 11 slides. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to look at our 11 slides. We need to add some additional information to each one of the slides. So down at the bottom in PowerPoint, you have different views. Right now we've been working in the normal view. Next to that, with the 4 little boxes, you have something called the slide sorter view. And I'm seeing a couple of questions over here. Yes, I will definitely get to both of them. So when I go to the slide sorter view, it gives me little thumbnails of each one of my slides. And what I want to do from this particular view is the first thing I want to do is I'm going to come up here to transitions. And we want to put a transition on each one of our slides so that it's not a blunt rollover from slide 1 to slide 2 to slide 3 and so on. So you can see that underneath the transitions, you have several different options to select from. If I click on one, it gives me a preview of what it's going to look like. Underneath, let's say push, if I select that one, I also have some additional options that I can come over here and I can tell it to push from the left, push from the right, push from the top, and so on. You can tell that I have a transition on this slide because now I have a little star underneath the slide. Excuse me. So we want to put a transition on each one of these. Now, trust me, you can spend a lot of time looking at transitions. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to randomly select different transitions for each one of my slides. Or the other thing that you can do is you can select from random, and each time you play the video or the PowerPoint presentation, it will randomly assign a transition between each one of your slides. When I'm doing a video, that's typically what I do. If I'm doing a professional presentation, I like to keep the transitions consistent. So if I click on random, I don't need to go to each one of these and tell it that I want it to be random. I can come right up here and tell it to apply to all. And when I click on apply to all, it will then place a little star underneath each one of my slides. So I'm going to go ahead and click on apply to all. And then right above apply to all, I just want to point this out to you. You have a duration, and that duration is how long the transition takes from transitioning from one slide to another. So if there's something that you want to emphasize, maybe you want the transition to be a little bit longer. If you need to adjust your video, if you need a few seconds here or a few seconds there, sometimes that's a good way to increase or decrease your songs as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that at 1.5 for right now. And then to the right of that, you can see that it says advanced slide on mouse click. Obviously, we don't want to do that for a video. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect that, and I'm going to select after. And that after is referring to how many seconds do you want each one of the slides to be up on the screen. So that typically when I create videos with PowerPoints, I leave them up anywhere around 7 seconds on each slide. It just kind of depends. If you want something that you really want to emphasize, or if there's an embarrassing picture for somebody that you want to leave up there a little bit longer, whatever the case may be, you can select, maybe we'll just go with, because I don't have a whole lot of slides, we'll go with 20 seconds. Now you'll note that now I have a transition and I have 20 seconds next to just one slide. If I want that 20 seconds to run on each one of these, I again can click on apply to all, and it will apply the 20 seconds to each one of my slides. I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to click on save again real quick. So now, if I want to see what I have, I'm just going to, you can either double click on one of the slides, or you can come back down to the bottom in the lower right hand corner and click on normal. Either way will work, and it takes me back out to my normal view. So from the normal view, you can't see, well, you can see that you have a transition on there, because underneath the 1 there's a little star, and underneath the 2 there's a little star. But you can't see that there's a timer on them. So right now, if I were to go to the slide view, it brings up, okay, hang on. We'll wait to do that because I can see that it went to another monitor on here. Let me see. How do you get picture? Whoops, what happened to the questions? Oh, they were. Naya, you must have answered them for me. Thank you. Okay, so we have a few of our slides. So we're really in pretty good shape. So the next thing that we want to do is I'm going to go back to insert, and I'm going to come back over here to audio. And if I click on that down arrow, I can insert audio from my PC, or I can record audio. So I'm just going to go ahead and select record, or not record, audio on my PC. And I'm going to upload the song that I'd like to use for our example. So I'm just going to double click on happy. Now you note that when I double click, when I inserted the audio, it gives me a little icon right here indicating that there's audio on this particular slide, and it's now giving me a playback ribbon. So in that playback ribbon, I need to do a couple of things. The first thing that I want to do is I'm going to go to when do I want the audio to start? I want it to start automatically. I want this music to play across the slides. I want it to hide this little icon during the show so that people don't see that. It's not in the middle of Happy Mother's Day. Okay, and then you have another option. You can click on loop until stopped. Now, what does that mean? Let's say that you're creating a slideshow for a graduation or a wedding or whatever the case may be. You're just going to have a monitor set up with it playing constantly throughout the entire event. You don't want to have to go back over every time it's done and restart it. So that's when you would put a little check mark in the loop until stopped, and it will just continue to play through and then automatically start again. I'm going to go ahead for right now. I'm going to take that check mark out of there. I'm going to go ahead and resave this. So let's see what we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into the presentation mode. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Naya, can you confirm that? Can you see this, the video playing? So hopefully you're seeing that and hearing the music playing across it. Again, I've got this on 20 seconds, so it's a little long. Okay, and I'm not going to play the whole thing. Let me go ahead and go back up to my share screen. Okay, and I see a question here about the transition time. So let me go ahead if I can. I think you should be able to see my screen again. So I'm going to go back into the slide sorter view. And in the slide sorter view, I'm going to go to transitions. Underneath transitions, you have the option to increase or decrease the duration of the transition, and you can also change the time that each picture or each slide is up. So if you decide that you want Happy Mother's Day to be up a little bit longer, I can change that to maybe 25 seconds. If you want a slide, maybe you need to adjust that. Maybe this slide you're just going to do for 18 seconds. So those are your transitions, your duration time, and the amount of time that they're going to show on the screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to save this again. Now let's say that you are all done with this and you want to back it up. So what I'm going to do now is, let me make sure I know where this is saved to. So I'm going to do a save as. And it's in my documents. And let me share a different screen with you this time. Okay, so I just went back to Google. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the Google slides that we were working on earlier. It's still saved to my drive. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to New. And I'm going to go to File Upload. And when I do a file upload, it's going to browse out and say, okay, what document do you want to bring up? I'm going to go ahead and click on the documents and tell it that I want my Google Slides. And down here in the lower right-hand corner, it's going to tell you that it's uploading, and it's got less than a minute left to upload. And when it's finished uploading, it allows me to click on the title of my document. And then I can tell it that I want it to open with Google Slides. Okay, and it took a minute, but everything came up. We don't need to take a tour. So you notice at the top that it says some PowerPoint features can't be displayed in Google Slides and will be dropped if you make changes. One of those is that Google Slides does not currently support audio. So that's why I was going back and forth between the two. I've seen some different options that I don't think are very user friendly. One would be to put the music on each slide. The problem with that, and it's a video, it's a video that you would insert from YouTube, you know, like free music that you could insert. The problem with that is every time you go to the next slide, the song starts over. So it's not really ideal unless you're just going to have real short snippets. So let's say that you've got, you know, a 20-second background song that you have on each slide, then you could use it. But that's why I like to start off in Google Slides, download it to PowerPoint, finish it up, and then I always upload my documents again back up to Google Slides just to make sure that they're backed up. It's just a little bit safer that way. Okay, does anybody have any additional questions? Yeah, I can absolutely, Sarah. I can look for a guide for you, definitely. I would have to look personally. This is all from just trial and error. This is self-taught. But yeah, absolutely. I'll give you my email address, and you can send me an email, and I'll get you some more information. If you want to change the picture's disposition, Fanny, what? Yeah, you're welcome, Sarah. I need to remember how to. Okay, so when you talk about the picture's disposition, do you mean dragging it around on the screen? So then I see your other question, Fanny. I need to remember how to. Oh, okay, from front to back. Gotcha. Not a problem. So if I select this picture and then right click on it, I can come down here to order, and I can tell it to bring to front, bring forward. In this case, I'm going to send backwards. And now it's sent backwards. So I can reorder them if you want to. So if you've got a collage and you want to, you know, move some forward or move some back, you can simply right click on them and adjust them. So if you want to share this with someone else, what you're going to do is you're going to come up to the upper right hand corner and click on share. And I'll just share this with my husband. And I'll say that he can edit that, and you can type in their email address, click on, you know, add a note if you'd like to, and click on send. Now you don't need to do this one person at a time. If you want to share this with multiple people, you notice what happens when I start to type something in. Like right now, it gives me my sister-in-law's email address. So as you start to type, it's going to populate people that are in your address book or people that you have shared things with in the past. So you can share it with one person at a time or as many as you would like. Once you're ready, you can go ahead and click on send, and it will send them. See, it's saying you're sending outside of a Google account. Is that okay? And I'm going to say yes, go ahead and send that to him. Now, the other thing that I want to point out when you're sharing things is perhaps when you're sharing things, you want to share it with one person that can edit the document, and you want to share it with another person that can only comment on the document. So you can do that as well. Not everybody in the group can have the same permissions. And if they want their permissions changed, they can email you and ask you for those permissions to be changed. Let's go ahead and click on cancel. Get rid of that. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see anything coming up, so let me go ahead and I'm going to share my email address with you. I know it's a long one. Every time I have to give this to somebody, I say to myself, why did you make that so long? So let me go ahead and change that, make it a little bit smaller so it's easier for you to see. So if you would like more information or you have questions going forward, I have no problem answering those for you. All right, folks, we are just about to noon. Have a fabulous Tuesday, and thank you for joining me this morning.